Good evening, dear teacher. We are Dayana Ayala and Renato Ayala, and today we are going to talk about approaches to discourse.
Yes, first we are going to start with speech act theory. It is basically saying we are not just speaking, we are performing things.
Right. For example, a parent says, "It's time for bed," and that's not just a statement, it's a command. Or when someone asks, "Could you close the door, please?" They are not asking about your ability, they are requesting action.
Exactly, as you said, some questions are not asking for your ability. These are requests to take action.
That's exactly what people do. For example, they say one thing but mean something else. And that's what we need to teach our students because people don't always say exactly what they mean.
Yeah, but the speech act theory has its limits. It is mostly used for single sentences, but what about longer conversation? That's where conversation analysis come in.
I understand that conversational analysis shows that conversation actually have a structure, even though when we don't think about it. For example, how do we know when we need to speak, or maybe how do we know when our turn is over? And all this process happen unconsciously.
Yeah, the answer for your questions is agency pairs. We just know that if someone asks, how are you? We supposed to respond good things and maybe ask back. But if this person doesn't follow the pattern, it feels really weird.
Yeah, it's like we have this social script in our head, and for language learners, they need to learn all those scripts. And it's not just vocabulary, it's knowing how the conversation is supposed to flow.
Yeah. Now go to talk about ethnography of communication. It basically said Chomsky was wrong about what means to be competent in a language. Chomsky was focused on universal grammar. Hymes said people need to know what's appropriate in different situations.
Yes, that's why he created a speaking framework, a setting, participant, ends, act, key, instrumentalities, norms, and genre.
Yeah, it is a practical tool for teacher to use this framework to figure out why an activity didn't work. It is where the goal clear, did the student understand the norm, or was the setting right?
That's a great point. It gives you a tool to diagnose problems systematically.
Yeah, and it connects to interactional social linguistics. It shows that people can know the same grammar but still misunderstand each other because they read situation from different backgrounds.
Yes, that's so relevant, I think, in multicultural classroom because a message is produced by for the speaker, but maybe it could be misunderstood because in another language setting it has maybe another connotation.
Yeah, exactly. It is a problem. And Goffman added that language actually helps create a context. It is not just that context determines language. Language also determines context.
Yeah, you're right. And tell me, do you think that the cooperative principle seems similar to speech act theory?
Yes, it is, but it is different too. Pragmatics focuses on how we understand each other, even when people aren't direct, and this approach involves these maxims quantity, quality, relation, and manner.
Like rules for effective communication?
Yeah, but people break these rules all the time. For example, if I said she's really friendly and you know she actually isn't, you realize I am being sarcastic because the meaning comes from knowing that I am breaking the rule.
Yeah, so breaking the rule actually creates meaning, and that's fascinating. And for language learner, they need to understand both the
Ex-
rule and the deviation.
exactly. That's how jokes work. And sarcasm and indirect requests. It depends on us knowing the normal way, and noticing when someone deviates. Okay, next, what about variation analysis?
Mm, honestly, that one feels different from the others because it's more about statistics and counting things. In this case, Labov was more interested in how language change and varies between different groups, like how people they speak differently based on the social age, class, and gender.
Yeah, but I think it adds something valuable evidence. Labov actually counted things. He showed that variation is random. There are patterns that tell us about the society.
And for teachers, I think that means that we can understand what the students might speak may be different. We can recognize that different varieties of English are not incorrect. They are just different, and we need to follow their own rules.
Exactly. You don't want to make students feel bad about their home language, but also they need to learn academic English. Analysis help us understood that both varieties are legitimate.
Yeah, that's true. And tell me, what is the main takeaway for teaching? What do you think?
Okay, students need to understand the social side of language, how to read situations, how to interpret indirect meanings, how to take turns in conversation, and how to recognize different varieties.
Yeah, because we are not just teaching a subject, we are teaching a social practice, and all these approaches show us all the different dimensions of that practice.
Yeah, we are not just explaining rules, we are helping people participate in social life. Thank you, teacher.